Thanks for listening to Middle-Aged and Mediocre. I'm Cash.
I'm Joel.
And we are a podcast about all things strange and unusual, death and UFOs, and other creepy,
Cults,
weird, random
ghosts.
stories. There you go.
Yeah. No, I'm just naming things in the room.
Oh my God.
There's a cult of ghosts.
Things might look a little confusing because I know the other day we posted episode 31.
So this is episode 32.
Well, this is actually episode 25.
Wait.
So here's what happened.
31. After that should be 32.
Should be, but my brain is broken.
Okay.
And I had to change something.
All right.
So when we first started, as a lot of people know, we...
a lot of people!
Everybody listening to this, most of the people listening to this.
Yeah.
Me
and you.
And
shout out.
Dustin.
Yeah, shout out
Brandon.
Dustin.
There's like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah. I love them all.
We did like 8 episodes, or I think it was 7 episodes, where we watched ECW on the WWE Network. And like,
I wish I was here for those.
I mean, you were here and you were physically here.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
But and then we like talked about what we were watching.
Yeah.
And you could watch along with it. And they just whatever. It didn't
it was all right.
It was fun for like 2 episodes.
Yeah,
and
that's not something we can really build upon.
Yeah, I lost interest pretty fast.
Really fast.
So
there's only so much Steve Carino shit talking I can do.
Right, like you. Yeah, that's the real reason I quit that one, because I just couldn't take you talking bad about Steve Carino that much. But so then we changed the format.
Yeah.
So starting with episode, at the time, 8 was the new format.
The Ocho.
And we went from there. And I deleted the first 7. That drove me insane because there was just like missing 7 episodes.
Yeah.
So I went through and renumbered them.
So now 8 is 1.
But now when you listen to them, we always say what the episode number is. So it's not going to... So, but it doesn't matter. You're here for the stories.
Yeah.
Right? You're here for the pee-hole talk.
For the camaraderie.
Right. That's what you're here for. Yeah. We all know that.
Yep.
You said that...
That's why I come.
What?
Here.
Camaraderie?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is... whatever. This is episode 25.
Yep. Episode 1. Or episode 25.
Don't worry about the number so much. You're here because you saw what the episode... You either listen to us because you just like us and you listen to us.
Yeah.
Or you randomly stumbled onto this because
Maybe
of
you
the
live in
subject
France
matter.
And you saw us and now you're listening. Because we're homegrown and internationally known.
You have coined that phrase and you are going to die with it, aren't you?
I am. Tonight, from saying it, you're going to kill me.
Tonight. Yeah, so...
Because we have listeners in like...
all over the place.
All over, internationally. I think Portugal, did you say?
I mean, they are... we're...
I know Australia, mate.
We're worldwide, baby.
Yeah. Internationally known. But homegrown.
Yeah, I mean, we got listeners in Canada, Australia, Ireland, the Philippines, United Kingdom, France... and India.
What if it's just one person who travels to all those places?
Hey, whatever they're doing is fine by me.
Yeah, just keep listening. We appreciate it.
Real quick, while we're talking about this kind of the analytics of this whole thing, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever the hell it's called now, please leave us a review and rate the episode, whatever, every episode you listen to. Please rate and review it. That helps a lot in them pushing certain episodes and certain podcasts. So
we need pushed.
We would appreciate it.
We need pushed bad. I don't know.
Yeah, we do, actually. But yeah, we are going to start doing some video content hopefully soon. We have a YouTube channel up right now, and that is, we got the first few episodes are up there. I can't remember how many I've actually got. It takes a while to get those on there.
And I don't do any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first 9.
It would take longer if I had any part of it. So the
first 9 episodes are up there, so you
good.
can go check those out if you want to listen to it that way. But that is, you can find our podcast. I'll tell you here in just a second because
I know, Anchor.fm.
Yeah, Anchor.fm / middle-aged and mediocre. Or you can go to... Just search for middle-aged and mediocre on YouTube, because they don't really give you a good link. They're not very... it's not very user-friendly.
It's like we're giving you a treasure map.
Right.
You Google middle-aged or search middle-aged and mediocre on YouTube.
You do the work.
Yeah, look for our logo.
Yeah.
I don't know what else, if there's any other middle-aged and mediocre stuff on YouTube. But...
Just remember the dash between middle and aged.
Oh, yeah, dash it out.
Yeah, so... But, hey, we're here for another episode.
Yeah.
And the world's still...
oh, my God.
Everything's crumbling around us.
It's awful.
America is...
everybody's fighting.
It's ridiculous.
Which it should be. I mean, it's absolutely...
Yeah.
Well, actually, there shouldn't even be a fight. It should be like, yeah, you know what?
Right.
Like, let's treat everybody equally. That's a good idea.
It's nuts. We won't really get into it.
My tooth hurts. It's been a rough
tooth
week,
hurts.
yeah.
It's just stress.
Yeah.
Your tooth's stressed out.
But my dentist said I should be good as long as I don't have to, like, talk into a microphone for any extended period of time.
Well, then you should probably go ahead and I'll take over.
I'm just kidding. I don't go to the dentist. I'm not rich.
Right.
I'm envisioning a Castaway scenario soon, like from Tom Hanks, the movie. I'm just, so if you have a figure skate out there.
Movie, I know.
Tom Hanks movie. I'm going to eventually just knock it out myself, I think. My tooth.
I thought you were going to go to an island like and fuck a volleyball.
Did he fuck that volleyball?
Of course he fucked that volleyball.
Of course.
As soon as you put
that's why I jumped off the boat. It was like,
as soon as you put a face on something,
yeah, you're gonna fuck it.
That's a fact of life.
Man, so did he cut an extra hole in it, or did he like? All right, let's.
I don't know. You're the one that fucks microwaves. You should know about all about
this. I make love to microwaves.
How weird is it that there's the rumor out there that Tom Hanks moved to?
I've not heard this rumor.
Have you not? He recently moved. Fuck, I can't remember where now, but it's because they supposedly have like pedophilia is legal, which is not true.
Oh yeah,
but it's one of those QAnon rumors. I don't know if you've heard of QAnon.
I have not.
Oh wow,
I know Tom Hanks' son. One of them's a rapper.
Yeah,
that's the only rumor I've heard about Tom Hanks.
Yeah, QAnon is the dumbest shit of all time. Like
QAnon,
the letter Q and then ANON.
Okay,
QAnon. We might get into it at some point because it's Greece. He moved. So there's a conspiracy theory. It was started by QAnon, claiming that pedophilia is considered a disability in Greece, which is false. It's not true. That's not true at all. But Tom Hanks recently moved there with his family, or like he has he bought a house there.
Yeah, I saw. I think I did see where was he there when he was sick with the COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
but like it turns out, or it's like well known that Tom Hanks and his family, like Greece has been like a vacation home destination, whatever for them for years now. But it's just I can't believe you haven't heard of QAnon.
No,
God, it's the dumbest shit in the world.
QAnon.
Trump. Like, they're huge supporters of Trump. They push all these... Like,
wait, do you mean President Trump?
The POTUS.
Better put a little respect... No, I'm just kidding. Fuck him.
They have... like, their whole thing is that Trump is fighting all the pedophiles. Oh. Like, that's his big fight, that he's gonna...
By being friends with them?
Right. Like, the other day at a...
He's like, look, I'm gonna be one for about 20 years... But it's just secretly to fight them.
They spread all sorts of like fucked up rumors and like all this misinformation and stuff. The other day at a press conference, though, I don't know who the reporter was. It was the dumbest question, but like she started off by asking him if he heard about the QAnon stuff, and he was like, "I really don't know much about them, but I've heard that they like me a lot, so
they must be smart.
So whatever, So he's and then she this is the dumbest question you could possibly fucking ask him. About this stuff, she goes, how do you respond to what they say where you're fighting pedophiles and rapists, whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, I mean, shouldn't we fight those things? And I was like, well, yeah, that's the best. You softballed that.
Yeah, that's all. He has
him.
plants asking those questions and stuff. Not literal plants, like that you water.
Maybe.
But people that he puts in the audience.
Oh,
that's
an insider wrestling term.
It's not like the Little Shop of Horrors plants. It's like, feed me, Seymour.
That's what I thought you meant.
Oh, Trump fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, man. And then
did you see like the thing where like people were like chanting 4 more years, and he was like,
"How about 12?
If you want to make him really mad, chant 12."
Yeah, yeah.
And he believes it in his mind. He thinks that he can get 12 more years.
I just don't think he gives a shit. I still stand by my original theory that I came up with almost 4 years ago, that he only got into this whole thing to get another TV show.
Yeah.
Or to, get more attention, and then he fucking won somehow.
Last thing he expected.
And he's like, God, and he just doesn't give a shit. Like
when he first started running, it was almost like when you first heard about Kanye running. You're
yeah,
like, oh, okay.
It's the same exact.
Trump's running. Okay, whatever.
And one of the things the guy's done is expose just how fucking stupid the presidency is. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's done so much awful shit with it, and he's been worthless, but he's also exposed how pointless it is.
It's just...
And how we need to have, like, a whole committee of people.
Yeah.
We can't have one person representing half the country. We need a round table. We need knights back. We need King Arthur to come back, build a round table.
Yeah.
And start beheading people again. I know. Oh. That's what I've been saying, Joel. We need more beheadings.
I need some head. Beheadings. I need some.
How did you take that to make it sexual?
How? Well, I mean, it's been a pretty lonely year.
I said we weren't going to get into the whole.
It's been a pretty lonely year. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we just dipped our toes in it.
It's only been 8 months, almost 9 months. This year's 2020 has been the Kobe died this year.
Yeah, I know.
That seemed like 7 years ago.
It's just a crazy, crazy year.
But hey, thanks for listening to Middle Aged Mediocre.
I'd hate to be going through a divorce during all this.
How bad would that be?
Oh my God, kill yourself.
I won't. If I haven't already.
I won't either. I just did.
One of the stories I started a story that was very much centered around a divorce, and I can't remember what it was now, but all I could think while I was writing it was like, and there's going to be a place for Jordan, and there's going to be a spot.
Triggered.
Can't remember what it was now.
It's probably like literally my story. You're going to see how long you could have got.
I was just going to change the names.
Well, she started going out town, just, couple weekends here and there.
I said it took place back at like 18-something. You're just like listening, you're like, this sounds so...
That poor bastard.
Was I related to this guy? Are those my ancestors?
And at the end, you'd be like, and it was about you.
And you've been dead since then.
We weren't even recording the podcast. Like, you wake up, it's just a dream. Like, Joel.
Then we record the sleep paralysis episode.
You wake up and we're really married. Whoa.
No. That's the closing shot. Just no.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but no.
Not that there's anything wrong with the idea and the concept of homosexuality. But
no. I love you too.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to get married to anyone.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, it's not just you.
I don't understand. People are like, oh, this is my third divorce. I'm like, what? Like,
Why?
I don't feel bad for those people.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't learn it the first time. Right. Like, I can't. I don't know.
You think this is gonna work?
Yeah. Like, how do you still have hope left? Was it hope, or are you just stupid? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I think like any more than 2. Like,
I guess
I don't even.
I guess maybe I can see like one more. You're like, all right, maybe there's the last one.
Yeah, I don't want to do one, but
I never thought I would.
I think if you did one and like then you didn't turn around a little bit later and there's a second, whatever. But then after that,
like if your spouse dies and you get remarried, like okay,
that's the dream, right?
No comment.
You got that out of free. You got that out of whatever. Let's not.
Let's change this.
Let's change the subject. Hey, this week. We are going to, last week we were in Circleville, Ohio.
Oh, yeah?
Talking about the Circleville writer, the Circleville letters. Circleville, Ohio, of course, known famously for their...
Circles.
Nope. Well, sort of, but what was the festival?
Oh, pumpkin?
Yeah, yep. I'm going to start quizzing you on our podcast. See if you ever pay attention.
Please don't.
So, yeah, you could check that episode out.
There's so many times you bring up episodes, and I'm like, which one was that? And then you're like 5 minutes later, I'm like, I still don't remember.
Was that a different Joel?
Yeah.
So this week we are going to... I got 2 stories.
Okay.
And they are both...
That's one more than what we usually do.
That's right. This is a double episode, which will equal out to about the same length of episode.
Cool.
But they both take place in West Virginia. So keeping it local.
Even though we are homegrown and internationally known.
But that homegrown state is West Virginia.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's a lot of murders and things we can talk about from around the country, but... there's not a lot of spotlight on things that happen in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I had really never heard anything about the Quiet
No
Bell
one's
murders.
ever been murdered in West Virginia.
A lot of people have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
I'm moving.
I don't know if
I don't
you've
feel
heard
safe.
of... Have you ever heard of the Greenbrier ghost?
No, I have not.
You have not?
I've heard of Greenbrier. That's where they golf.
I mean, I'm sure.
They got the Greenbrier, yeah.
Oh, is that like the big...
Yeah,
that's like the big... Yeah, in West Virginia.
Yep.
Right. So, this isn't about golf.
Okay. Well, I'm out of here.
Do you remember the... How old are you? I'm 37.
I just turned 41.
So this... Yeah, do you remember the book? It was big when I was a kid, but I think it's been around...
Clifford?
Right, the big red dog. Yep, that's the one.
I remember.
All about the ghost hunting dog. Right. No, this was was the Telltale Lilac Bush and Other West Virginia Ghost Stories. It was an orange cover, had a skeleton on it.
I grew up in Ohio. I was born in West Virginia,
yeah.
but I didn't move back until after I graduated. So we had books of Ohio like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so this was when I was a kid, other than the scary stories to tell in the dark books, this was the West Virginia version.
Sure.
But I remember the Greenbrier Ghost was one of the tales in it. But so...
I've never heard of it, so this will be good.
Okay, so... this will be our first story here. And this is we're going to start in the summer of 1896 when a gentleman by the name of Erasmus Stribling Trout... right.
Say that, what? Rasmus?
Erasmus.
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 He moved from...
What? No. What was the other half of the name?
Oh.
I mean, the Erasmus, that alone is like a weird name. But then, you say the rest, and it sounds like...
Erasmus...
Twiddleberg?
Stribling? Trout.
And
then his last name was Shue. S-H-U-E.
So Shriveling Trout's his middle name?
So Trout's his nickname.
Okay.
Erasmus Stribling Shue is his full name. ESS. He moved from Droop Mountain.
Yeah.
In Pocahontas County. I don't know if you've ever been to Droop Mountain.
Nope.
I've been there once. It's a site of a famous battleground.
Is it SAG? Why is it?
I don't really know why they call it that, but it's got this big. You can climb up this tower that's built there, like a fort. And you can look down over, you can see the whole valley and the whole.
Beautiful.
Really pretty there.
West Virginia's a beautiful state.
It is. There's a lot of really great. So that's in Pocahontas County, and he moved to the small town of I don't know. I think it's Livesay's. I think it is. Livesay's Mill in Greenbrier County. Everyone eventually started calling him Trout, so that's what I'm going to start.
That seems like the easier thing to do.
Yeah, because there's no one named Erasmus since then. I don't think. Stribling. Yeah, like scribbling, but with a T.
Yeah.
So Trout arrived in Greenbrier County and found work as a blacksmith in a shop
GBC
owned by James Crookshanks.
Okay.
Soon after, he met 22-year-old Elva Zona Heaster.
Oh.
And I will be calling her Zona, referring her to Zona from here on out.
She sounds exotic.
She does. So Trout and Zona were instantly attracted to one another upon meeting, and shortly after...
you got a weird name? I got a weird name.
Let's make this thing
super
weird.
Yeah.
They married shortly after meeting in October of 1896. Zona's mother, Mary Jane Heaster...
Did they not hear our intro from earlier about marriage?
About marriage? They were not listening.
Not in 1896?
Our podcast hadn't made it back to them.
Okay, I'm sorry. They're married.
We're working
quick.
on it.
They got married quick.
They got married quick, yeah. So Zona's mother did not like Trout.
Uh-huh.
There was something about him.
Did it say how old he was when they got married? She was like 22,
no,
I think you said.
So she was 20. No, I don't know how old he was.
Okay.
She didn't approve of the marriage, and she just kind of felt like there was something that Like he had like a darker side to him that he was basically just pretending to be a certain person. So around Christmas of the same year, Zona became ill. They called Dr. George Knapp, he examined her on several occasions, but could never determine the cause of the illness.
Well, it was 1896. So.
Right. The illness continued to get worse. Some in the town speculated she was just pregnant, but there was really never...
Rumor mill.
Right.
Kicking up.
She'd had some rumors, or she had some gossip about her around town because just 2 years before, like this, or 3 years, something like that, she'd had an illegitimate child out of wedlock. I really don't know what happened to the kid. Like, it doesn't say.
I wonder, maybe back then she had to give it up for adoption.
But since it wasn't, since it was out of wedlock.
Yeah.
So a lot of people too think that might be one of the reasons why she married Trout so quick. Is because
trying to save her with those reputation.
Yeah. So she could have been pregnant, but Dr. Knapp, that was never confirmed by him, So for his part, Trout gave off the appearance of being a loving and caring husband, though, who was concerned with nothing else than the well-being of his new bride. On January 23rd, 1897, instead of going straight to work that morning, as per his usual routine, unexplainably, Trout stopped at the residence of Martha Jones and told her that Zona had been very ill that morning when he left for work, and asked her to send her son Andrew over to his home to help Zona with some chores. Martha agreed, but for whatever reason, Andrew did not go directly over to Zona and Trout's home at that time. So that same morning, Trout made 3 more visits to Martha's home, each time repeatedly asking that she send her son to the home. Nothing weird about that. Like, why would you not just go? So he wanted her to go. He said that when he left, or that there should have been eggs delivered after he'd left. He wanted the kid to go over there and pick up the eggs and then help Zona with some chores around the house. But, to repeatedly keep insisting that it happened just seems odd.
Yeah.
So eventually, between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. that morning, Andrew went to the home of Trout and Zona, but was met with no answer after repeatedly knocking on the front door. He decided to enter the home, and there he found the body of Zona lying on the floor at the bottom of the stairs. She was stretched out with her feet together, and one hand on her abdomen, and the other lying next to her. Her head was turned slightly to one side. Her eyes were wide open and staring. Even to the small boy, Zona Shoe was obviously dead. Andrew ran home to tell his mother of the discovery.
Damn.
Then
fuck that kid up.
Yeah. So then Trout goes home. He gets word of this. He goes home. About an hour later, Dr. Knapp arrives, and he finds that Zona's body had not only been moved from the spot it had originally been found, because Trout had carried her upstairs and washed her and redressed her.
Weird.
Getting in preparation for the funeral already. And laid her on the bed.
Yeah. He had plans later,
So
get that out of the way.
Right.
Knock that out.
So not only was this highly unusual due to the fact that bodies are typically examined post-mortem, but also because at this time it was customary that the bodies of deceased females were cared for and prepared by female members of the family or community. But Zona's body had been moved and prepared by Trout. He prepared a body for burial in a high-necked dress with a stiff collar and placed a veil over her face. Dr. Knapp started to examine the body, however, while Trout cradled his wife's head and cried the whole time. When Knapp attempted to examine Zona's neck and head area, Trout became agitated.
Oh.
So Dr. Knapp didn't want to provoke him any further, so he just left. Which, great doctoring.
Yeah.
The parts of her...
his job was pretty much no saving her.
The parts of her body that he was able to examine hadn't shown any sign of any foul play or whatever.
But that's weird that when he gets to the throat, neck and head.
Right. And since he'd been treating her for a few weeks already due to some illness, he listed the cause of death as everlasting faint.
Oh.
Which back then, I guess, that's what we would call now
forever nap.
Heart attack.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But then later changed it to complications from pregnancy.
She did have her hand on her stomach.
Right. But even though there was never really any confirmation that she was pregnant. Zona's body was taken to her childhood home of Little Sewell Mountain, or Sewell, something, and buried, but not before a bizarre funeral where Trout acted erratically. He stayed at the head of the coffin, kept messing with her head and neck, and he put he took fabric and put it on both sides of her head to kind of keep her not to keep her head in place.
Yeah.
That's not what he said. He said it was because because that's how she'd be comfortable. But he stayed right there at the head of the whole time.
Not weird at all.
Right. So not only that, but in addition to the collar and the veil that he had already put on her, he covered her head and neck with a scarf, even though it didn't match the burial dress. But Trout insisted that it was her favorite and that she would have wanted to be buried in it. He also propped her head up, first with a pillow and then a rolled-up cloth. It was certainly strange, but most guests just chalked it up to a weird grieving process.
Yeah.
He was generally liked and regarded without suspicion by everyone in town. Except for, of course, Zona's mother. Zona was...
Probably even more so now.
Right. Zona was Mary Jane Hester's only daughter and her best friend. Zona had spent her life in Richlands, West Virginia, and when she moved to the remote hills of Livesay's Mill on the other side of Greenbrier County to make home with a person that answered to the name Trout, her mother, of course, wasn't very happy.
It was a bit fishy. Ho-ho!
And that's
Don't jump out the window.
That's the episode, guys.
Come back.
We almost made it a half hour without. But perhaps it was her intuition, but whatever it was, Mary Jane knew something wasn't right about what happened to her daughter. So after the wake, Mary Jane took a sheet from inside the coffin, which she later tried to return to Trout, actually, but he refused it. So she folded it up and put it away, but then she noticed that it had a peculiar odor about it. So she washed it. When she dropped the sheet into a basin, the water turned red. The sheet then... This is so weird. And I'm assuming this is her making this story up. Then the sheet turned a pinkish color, and then the red in the water went away.
What?
Yeah. She boiled the sheet and
Mary
hung it
Jane
outside.
was on some Mary Jane.
She hung the sheet outside for several days, but the stain could not be removed. She would interpret the eerie bloodstains as a sign that Zona had been murdered. So she began to pray. So I don't know where she suddenly gets the murder. I don't... Because there was never really any blood. There was...
Yeah.
So for 4 weeks, Mary prayed every single night, relentlessly asking for answers. She was apparently, after 4 weeks, awoken by something moving around in her bedroom. Upon waking, she found that the ghost of Zona was there in her bedroom, plain as day. Zona's ghost told her mother about the night she died. The night before young Andrew found her body, Trout came home and looked at the feast his wife prepared. She served apple butter, some jam and jelly, and good bread. She didn't cook any meat, though, and this fact threw Trout into a fit of rage.
You just eat bread. It's just a goddamn Olive Garden.
Bread with butter and jelly?
God damn, Zona, I didn't work all day to come home for some bread.
I was going to write it all down. I found it in a video. But there's you can go and find it. There's transcripts of, later on, there's going to be a court hearing.
Uh-huh.
And there's transcripts of Mary Jane talking about this.
Uh-huh.
And when she goes in, she gives more details about the apple butter stuff, and the way she words it is, she was like, and then she told me that she had made apple butter and some of the best jams and jellies that she had ever made. She just really was proud of the jams and jellies.
Good job, Zona.
So yeah, it pissed him off that there was no meat. He attacked her and placed a hand on each side of her head, and with one quick motion, the ghost of Zona explained, he dislocated her neck.
Ugh.
Zona's ghost revealed it wasn't the first time her husband had hit her. Trout had a terrible temper, and she couldn't reason with him. Zona went on to describe the neighborhood they lived in and the view from Aunt Martha's home, since Mary Jane hadn't visited in 3 months, Zona and Trout were married until the funeral. So Mary Jane is saying that the only way she even knows about what the neighborhood looks like is because this ghost told her.
Yeah.
So the spirit vanished that first night, but returned each night for 4 nights.
Wow.
The second night, she told her mother again how Trout had squeezed her neck. Specifically, she said that he had snapped it at the first joint. On the last night of her visits, as if to make one final point, Zona twisted her head around 180 degrees to show her mother just how broken her neck was.
Yeah.
So.
Theatrics,
Yeah.
Drives home the point.
So, Mary Jane gets her brother-in-law, tells him about all this shit. They talk to Andrew, that found her.
The boy.
And they decide that there's enough there that the police should look into this. So they go to Lewisburg, West Virginia, where they talk to the prosecuting attorney, John Preston. And Mary Jane pleads her case. Of course, he's skeptical.
Yes.
But she's so passionate in what she's saying, and she so firmly believes what she's saying, that he agrees to at least look into it. So he travels to Greenbrier County.
So he goes to sleep, tries to dream.
So he's like, well,
gotta do what I gotta do.
let me see if I can get my ghost friends. So he goes to Greenbrier County, and he visits with Dr. Knapp. And Dr. Knapp tells him about how he shows up, the body's not where it was found, about how when he tried to examine, like, especially the head area, Trout got fucking crazy about it. And he even says, where I put down that it was complications from pregnancy is most likely bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, he just is like, look,
you didn't want to leave it blank.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically is what he's saying. He's like, I had to put something.
Yeah.
So, he's like, there's some shit going on there.
Yeah.
So it's enough for...
I'm a doctor. I would know.
Right. So it's enough for John Preston, and he decides to have Zona's body exhumed for further investigation.
You're going to exhume Zona?
Yeah. Which, I think it's crazy. Like, I mean, I guess this is 1897, so I'm sure this Dr. Knapp guy was just like, well, that's that.
Yeah.
But, like, why at no point did he go to the police? Like, somebody would be like, hey, this guy is...
That seems like a lot of extra steps.
Again, back then, I feel like it was probably just like, yeah, I mean, none of my business.
Yeah.
Like, I did what I could, but, yeah, if they're going to kill each other, they're going to kill each other.
Yep, what are you going to do? I only work on the
like
live
you said,
ones.
He had done pretty much everything he could. So, so Trout was not super pumped about this whole body exhumation thing. And supposedly he was heard stating that he knew he would be arrested if her body was dug up, but that they couldn't convict him on anything. Which is, definitely what an innocent person says.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, sure, they're going to arrest me, but they can't prove it.
They can't prove it. I'd like to see him try.
Yeah. So on February 22nd, 1897, Zona's body was exhumed and thoroughly examined. Fortunately for them, due to the cold weather, her body had been kept perfectly preserved in the ground. Her corpse had finger-shaped bruises on the neck, her windpipe was crushed, and most surprisingly, her neck was fractured at the first and second vertebrae, precisely
just
as
like
her
the
ghost exclaimed.
Yep.
It was clear Zona's death was not natural, but there really was no evidence pointing to a killer, which, I mean, other than, the thumbprints on the neck. And there was no witnesses.
Could have been the boy.
Trout's strange behavior since Zona's death stuck in Preston's mind and cast some suspicion on him, but at the same time, Zona's mother had described exactly how her daughter was killed before the autopsy was performed, and at one point Preston thought maybe she had done it.
Yeah.
And then the ghost story was just an elaborate
plot twist, man. It was the mom.
Trout. It wasn't. Yeah. No, I mean, it was a fleeting thought in Preston's mind.
Well, he's a good detective.
So he kept looking into Trout. Started looking into his past. He learned that Trout had been married twice before. The first ended in divorce while Trout was in prison for stealing a horse.
Been there.
Which back then, you did not steal a horse.
No.
Like, you're stealing a car. That wife...
Stealing horses? Nay, I say.
God damn it.
Nay, I say.
Get out. I'll finish this on my own.
I'll see you in your dreams.
That wife later told police that Trout was extremely violent and beat her frequently while they were married. His second marriage...
What a little man. Fuck that guy.
...ended after just 8 months when his wife mysteriously died.
Huh.
She had died by...
What are the odds of it happening twice?
Right. She had died by getting struck in the head with a concrete block that had fallen off the roof while he was working on the chimney.
Oh.
You know.
Man, that's just bad luck right there.
So...
He was like, hey, wife number 2, come here for a second. A little closer.
Did you call me wife number 2?
Yeah.
My name's Jane.
And thump.
In between the marriages, Trout, while he was I'm assuming while he was in prison.
So I bet he was older than her, because she was
22. He was probably for that time, he was probably like 50.
2 marriages, prison, horse theft.
He was 79 years old.
Yep.
So in between the marriages, while he was in prison, he had supposedly boasted that he had planned to marry 7 women in his lifetime, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's my plan.
Yep.
7 marriages.
7 of them.
I don't know. That's just, I thought I'd set a goal for myself.
Sure.
So,
if you aim high, and then if you get 5, you're like, well, that's still pretty good.
Not bad for government work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, if you just kill them, you get through them. I mean, you not kill them. If they die.
Yeah, if they die mysteriously, then you know, that helps you get through them.
If he hadn't stole that horse, that first wife would be dead, too.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason, is because she divorced him. Not
his horse stealing ass.
The previous wife's mysterious death and Trout's history of abuse were circumstantial, but it was enough for Preston to put him on trial. So he was arrested and charged with the murder.
They're not going to convict him, though.
Mary Jane Heaster was the prosecution's star witness.
Sure.
But Preston wanted to avoid the issue of her ghostly sightings.
I was going to say, I can't imagine, the cop or a lawyer be like, well, first, what we need to talk about are them dreams.
Right.
Just tell them about the dreams.
So, Zona's story, of course, would not be able to... Zona wouldn't be able to be cross-examined.
Yeah.
So anything her mother said she had been told by her would be basically hearsay.
Yeah.
So, while Preston didn't want to put her on the stand, Trout's lawyer did.
Well, shit, yeah.
So,
honestly, she sounds crazy.
He puts Hester on the stand and extensively questions her about the ghost sightings. He continuously... The transcripts are really good.
Yeah.
So, she stands by that she was awake.
Uh-huh.
That her daughter appeared to her as a ghost.
Told her how she died.
That she could touch her like she was flesh and blood.
Uh-huh.
The lawyer continuously says, when you say you were awake, you mean you were dreaming. And she's like, no, I was awake.
By awake, I mean awake.
And he's like, well, when you say that she appeared to you as a ghost, you mean in your dreams. And she's like, no, I was awake.
Yeah.
There she was. She was a ghost, and she told me everything. And that, he's
that
like,
sounds insane.
And he tells her, I need you to say, for the record, because everyone's here, this is the court, that these were dreams. And she says, I'm not going to say they were dreams because I was awake, and if I said they were dreams, I'd be lying, and I will not lie on the stand. So, in my mind, it probably would have been a good idea to put her on the stand because she sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But it backfired.
Oh.
So, she refused to waiver in her account despite intense badgering by his lawyer, and many people in the community, and probably the jury, seemed to believe her story.
Yeah.
And Trout did himself no favors, taking the stand in his own defense. He rambled and was trying to appeal to the jury. He said to look into his face and then say if he was guilty.
Well, yes, absolutely.
So basically, everyone was like, yeah, you're fucking guilty. Have you seen you? He was a super handsome-looking dude. But he also, you look at him and you're like, nah, motherfucker's a rape. He's a day rapist.
He got them eyes?
Yeah. So the Greenbrier Independent, which I'm assuming is the newspaper, reported that his quote, testimony, manner, and so forth made an unfavorable impression on the spectators. So the jury deliberated for just an hour and 10 minutes before returning a guilty verdict.
They normally don't, yeah.
10 of them voted that he be hanged, But since 2 voted to not hang him,
fucking hippies,
he was sentenced to life in prison.
Uh-huh.
That sentence did not satisfy everyone in Greenbrier County, and on July 11th, 1897, a group of citizens, reportedly numbering from anywhere between 15 to 30 men, assembled 8 miles west of Lewisburg to form a lynching party. They had purchased a new rope.
That makes it sound kind of fun if you're a lynching party. I thought you were going to say a lynch mob.
They had party hats, kazoos.
Little like the blower.
Yeah. I love this. They had purchased a new rope. They're taking this serious.
Oh, yeah.
They got a new rope. And they
Billy, get that new rope.
They were well armed with Winchesters and revolvers when they started towards the jail. If not for a man named George M. Hara, who contacted the sheriff, Trout would probably have been lynched.
Snitches.
But Hara did contact the deputy sheriff, and the deputy sheriff took Trout into the woods and hit him until then he went back and he got the mob to disband, and then they moved Trout to the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville on July 14th, where he lived for the next 3 years. He died on March 13, 1900, from one of the epidemics of either measles, mumps, or pneumonia.
Just choose one.
Like one of them.
Yeah.
That swept through the prison that spring. At that time, the prison commonly buried unclaimed remains in the nearby Tom's Run Cemetery, for which no records were kept until the 1930s. So, to this day, there's really no trace of where his body's even at.
Wow.
Mary Jane Heaster lived to tell the tale to anyone who listened. She died in September of 1916 without ever recanting her story about her daughter's ghost. As for Zona...
I bet she talked about it all the time,
all the
too.
time.
Jesus Christ.
Her ghost was never seen again, but she has left a haunting and historical mark on Greenbrier County. It is one that is still being felt today. In fact, a roadside marker along Route 60 still commemorates the case today. It reads, "Interred in a nearby cemetery is Zona Heaster Shoe. Her death in 1897 was presumed natural until her spirit appeared to her mother to describe how she was killed by her husband, Edward. Autopsy on the exhumed body verified the apparition's account. Edward, found guilty of murder, was sentenced to the state prison. Only known case in which testimony from a ghost helped convict a murderer." The story of the Greenbrier Ghost is the subject of 3 stage adaptations, a number of books, and just like the subject of our last episode about the Circleville letters, the story was featured on Comedy Central's show Drunk History. So,
Not Unsolved Mysteries.
Not Unsolved Mysteries,
no.
So that's the story of the Greenbrier Ghost. And, yeah, it's like the only... So apparently some of the jury later had said that Mary's testimony
didn't really have
had
sway.
nothing to do with their
I mean, without it, you still exhume her. She had, crushed windpipe, broken neck. I mean,
but I mean, without that testimony, you're still just going by circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably Trout, but
you can't prove it just by that.
But they did, and he died in prison. So
that's good.
Whatever.
I wonder if he got to get remarried in prison. Then did he ever get to number 7?
Number 7.
Yeah.
I bet he just married 4 dudes
all at once.
He's just like, hey, you're my new bride.
Yeah, you're my new bride. You're my new bride.
What if he got to 6?
Yeah.
And then pneumonia took him.
Oh man,
that'd be good.
It's so close. It's so far away.
So we'll be back in just a minute with the second story from West Virginia.
Cool.
So
it's about pepperoni rolls.
Check out this app.
The haunted pepperoni roll.
Ooh, with hot cheese. We'll be right back. This one's weird, and I'm basically covering it for a reason we'll get to at the end. But this is about the mystery of Wizard Clip.
Wizard Clip.
Ever heard of this one?
Nope.
Okay.
I remember the movie The Wizard with Fred Savage, where he was like playing Nintendo and stuff.
His little brother was
and Jenny Lewis.
Was Jenny Lewis? Yeah, she was. Yeah, and they went to
Reno. World's the biggest little city.
Yeah, there was like Nintendo World Championships
for Super Mario.
It was basically just an advertisement for Super Mario Bros. 3.
And the Power Glove.
Yeah, so
which
bad.
sucked.
Yeah, so
Power Glove was awesome.
Blue.
Well, that was part 2, guys.
There's a docu-series on Netflix right now called High Score.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't watch it, but I saw it.
Basically, I got one more episode to go, but basically, So it covers like Atari, then Nintendo, then Sega, whatever. But basically, the ultimate, what word am I looking for here? The point of the story is that a bunch of Japanese people were super creative, and then a bunch of white Americans figured out a way to make money off that.
Sure.
So that's the whole story of video games, really.
That's the whole story of America.
Yeah.
Really.
Like, it shows the, so it'll show, it'll show, the Japanese people that were basically responsible for most of, the game designs and stuff like that. And, they're still, very creative people. And it shows them, all still drawing stuff. Then every person it shows it's American, basically, that's, responsible for the game, for the gaming industry, are now, these old, white, rich people living in these, extravagant, houses. And, they're, the one, they look like they all just got, back from the country club. It's ridiculous. It's not the people you would imagine being,
for video
the reason
games.
you played Mario, yeah. It's a good docuseries, though. It's entertaining.
I'll check it out.
So, okay. The origins of the bizarrely named Wizard Clip mystery go back to the late 1700s.
Way back.
When the state of Virginia was still being settled and before West Virginia had become its own state. But the site of this mystery today is known as Priest Field in Middleway, West Virginia.
Okay.
So,
never heard of any of that.
Okay.
West Virginia I've heard of.
Adam Livingston, a devout Lutheran, had moved to the area in the early 1790s. He had previously owned a great deal of land in Pennsylvania before relocating to Middleway. For unknown reasons, his Pennsylvania property had begun experiencing a host of calamities, from his cattle dying off to his barn burning to the ground. So looking for a fresh start, him and his family packed up and moved. They settled on 350 acres on Priest Field, where they were once again beset by unexplained misfortune. According to the legend, around 1794, a traveling stranger boarded the house of Adam Livingston's house, where the stranger became ill, and he asked Livingston to bring a Catholic priest. The area was mostly devoid of Catholics, and no priest could be easily found, and Livingston, being Lutheran, was not enthusiastic about finding one. So ultimately, the stranger died of his illness and was buried nearby without the benefit of a Catholic service.
That's how you get haunted.
That's how you get fucking haunted.
That's how you get ghosts.
You bring God into it.
Seen it 100 times.
So it's said that after the stranger's death, once again, the family's livestock began to die. Now, along with that, Adam and his children and his wife began to experience unsettling phenomena.
Something like a phenomenon.
Among the disturbances that supposedly visited the Livingstons were loud banging and the thunder of galloping horses, which would occur out of the blue. Stones and pieces of firewood would be flung through the air.
Damn, the TV would just turn on and off and on.
There was a TV?
Yeah, there was what is this
it was
box?
Just there?
With these living things in it.
Perfect Strangers was on. Dishes and pottery would mysteriously come off the shelves and smash to the floor. And the heads of ducks and geese were said to simply fall off, as though cut by some invisible force. So there was ninjas, ghost ninjas.
What did the ducks and geese ever do to that ghost?
They should have got a fucking Catholic priest.
What if someone just didn't want to wash the dishes and they just broke them all? Like, I don't know, it's like a ghost or something.
Better kill some ducks and geese to make this legit. But the oddest phenomenon,
That's such a good word.
And the one from which the legend takes its name was the clipping and shredding of the Livingstons' clothes. As the story goes...
That's what happens to me! Remember my t-shirts?
Oh, yeah.
I just wake up and the sleeves are cut off. It happened to you! We're both wearing... Oh my god!
We're haunted!
Sorry.
Lamest ghost ever.
Yeah. Let's leave it alone.
Let's leave it alone. As the story goes, after the Livingstons moved in, or after this happened with the stranger, their bedding, their shirts, boots, saddles, pretty much any piece of fabric or cloth begin to be mysteriously cut to ribbons, or more commonly, it would have a crescent moon shape cut into them.
Huh.
As detailed in a series of historic accounts of the legend collected in the 1978 pamphlet titled Adam Livingston, The Wizard Clip, The Voice, and historical account.
That's
the full name.
That's a long title.
It didn't matter where the cloth was. None of it escaped the clip. Items of clothing were somehow cut while people wore them. Stored linens would be found clipped. Pieces were clipped on the laundry line.
Jesus.
One prominent account tells of a curious visitor to the Livingston house who took off her hat and wrapped it in a handkerchief to keep it from being clipped. But when she left and unwrapped it, the silk hat had been cut to shreds. The term wizard clip is in reference to the crescent moon, crescent moon,
I think,
as some sort of occult symbol. The stories of the Livingston clippings became so widespread that the area that's now Middleway was even sometimes just called Wizard Clip or Clip Town.
Clip Town?
According to the accounts in the 1978 pamphlet, Livingston began looking to religion for a solution to his problems. He reached out to his Lutheran pastor, but was turned away after the minister argued that it was not his power to banish the evil spirit in his house. After that, Livingston
It was his day off, too, so...
Look, Adam...
I'd love to help you.
Leave me alone on Fridays.
I just asked for one day to myself, okay? One goddamn day to myself.
I will see you Wednesdays and Sundays.
Yeah.
And if you have a ghost problem, then...
Come talk
Remind me. But I'm very busy those days. After that, Livingston began broadening his spiritual search. He approached an Episcopal minister and was even visited by a Methodist preacher. He even entertained self-proclaimed conjurers, but reportedly each person who tried to exorcise the presence was met with flying stones and other strange acts. Just when Livingston was losing his faith in God altogether, he supposedly had a vision that would change his dreadful fate. He had a dream where he saw a man in a long cloak-like robe. He came to the conclusion that this meant that he should seek out a Catholic priest for help. So now who needs a Catholic priest, Adam? I guess it's not good enough for a stranger.
Yeah.
But your clothes start getting cut.
And then you just run to a Catholic.
He finally found...
And the Catholic's like, are the kids' clothes getting cut off by any chance? I mean...
You have a young boy.
You have a young son that, like, the back of his pants are getting cut off?
Where's his clothes getting cut? Ooh.
I'll see you in hell.
He finally found Reverend Dennis Cahill and reluctantly invited the cat. I love that. Like, I know
you can come over.
Catholics were like not well regarded for a long time, but it's just reluctantly like, I have this ghost problem.
If all my clothes were getting cut up, I wouldn't even be talking to you. Come on,
come over here and do your voodoo. So he invited him to his home
reluctantly.
Supposedly, after Cahill uttered some prayers and sprinkled some holy water, not only did a thought to be misplaced sum of money suddenly appear at Cahill's feet, but the hauntings also ceased for a few days. So, apparently money appeared out of thin air.
Gersh's like, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that a lot.
There's a tip.
There, that's for you. That's for you.
Buy yourself something special.
Yeah, get yourself... That's for lunch, okay?
Another priest, Reverend Dmitri Galitzin, also visited the Livingston residence around 1797. In a letter written in 1839, just a year before his death, Galitzin declared that after 3 months of witnessing the disturbances at the Livingston home, quote, I was soon converted to a full belief of them. So he apparently, like, he's probably not trying to sell books or anything. Galitzin had Cahill come back to Livingston's, and together they performed an exorcism
tag team
that allegedly caused the house to shake with the rattling and rumbling as of a number of wagons passing by. Finally, after Cahill performed a mass in the house, the haunting stopped. Sort of.
Yeah.
Following the exorcism, the Livingstons were later beset by a haunting of another kind. Adam Livingston and his family began hearing something they called the voice. Cahill continued visiting the Livingstons to bring them into the Catholic fold, and found that the family now claimed to be being instructed by a strange voice that taught them about Catholicism and piety. The voice was said to exclaim, I want prayers.
Feed me prayers, Seymour!
And it shamed members of the family who were not pure in their confessions. It was under these unusual circumstances that Adam Livingston and a number of his children became devout Catholic converts. In February of 1802, Livingston deeded a portion of his land to the Catholic Church in perpetuity before moving back to Pennsylvania, where he lived until he died in 1820. In accordance with his gift, he stipulated that there should always be a member of clergy on the land, and that any profits from it should go towards building or repairing a church on the land. Since many accounts of the Livingston hauntings and the wizard clip come from the writings of religious sources, the miraculous ability of the Catholic Church to banish the mysterious spirits are a bit convenient. Still, the legend itself continues to be a prominent feature of the local culture to this day. In Middleway, triangular historic markers still bear a crescent moon and shears in opposite corners to honor the legend. The land Livingston deeded, the Priest Field Pastoral Center, still belongs to the church. Today, it is a peaceful retreat used by everyone from religious leaders to sewing clubs to AA groups. And apparently no further ghost stories have developed around the land. But then again, it's never left the hands of the church.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm doing this is because as of 2 days ago, the Wizard Clip story has now been commemorated with a Legends and Lore roadside marker in Middleway, West Virginia by the folks at West Virginia Folklife and their Legends and Lore roadside marker program, which is created to help promote cultural tourism and commemorate legends and folklore as an important part of every community's cultural heritage.
That'd be a cool thing to go do.
So
see all
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard the story before.
Uh-huh.
And I just remember, like, there was a wizard. I remember I barely read it once.
Wizard
I was like, there was like a wizard that was killing people.
Is that what you call Catholic priests? Wizards?
Wizards.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, probably just a story made by the Catholic Church to be like, look how good we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cutting up clothes.
But if you go to Middleway, West Virginia now, you can find the landmarker. So I checked into it. There's like through their program, they've got a lot of different like markers up different places.
That'd be a fun little thing to go do. Go see them all.
I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a couple stories from West Virginia. We'll keep it kind of local if we can.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably not.
Let's talk about Mothman or something.
Mothman's a good one. We might we'll get into Mothman.
He got that metal statue ass.
He got that metal butt.
Yeah.
That smooth butt.
You go to, where's that at? Oh, shit. Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant.
Yeah.
You've been there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the little museum.
Yeah, it's got a cool little museum. There's their flood wall has, like, paintings all along it of just the history of the town, and like it's pretty graphic. It's got like the war between like the Indians and like the settlers, and it's
I have
it's a cool little place, Point Pleasant.
I have a DVD. It's a documentary about it's called The Eyes of the Mothman, I think. But like a lot of it's just covering like the wars and shit that's happened there. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up history. Yeah, we could get into that.
That'd be a cool episode.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah. That's good.
Couple
West Virginia stories for a couple West Virginia boys.
There you go. I figure if we can keep stuff local, that'd be good. There's not a ton of like everybody know. Like I mean, most people know about all the. I hate while trying to figure out stories. Like there's so many fucking murders, but like I don't want to like glorify like serial killers.
Yeah.
Like they're like those stories have been told a million times. And I just like they're just fucking like losers.
Yeah.
Like I just hate all these like whatever. And then like there's just so many random stories about just fucked up people killing other people.
Yeah, just really
that
graphic.
We could do, but
I like the weird stuff.
Yeah,
the kind of unanswered things, and
I'd rather talk about shit that happened a long time ago. That there's not like
we kind of did the meet cute one, but that was like a kind of
it's a weird oddity.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird oddity, and
so we'll probably Mothman would be a really good episode. We might get to that one here real soon.
We can watch that Richard Gere movie. What's the name of that?
I never have watched that. Mothman Prophecies.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I saw it once. It didn't really.
I never did watch it.
Yeah. He didn't stick any gerbils up his ass, so I was like, I'm not watching this. Isn't that that's a Richard Gere rumor?
Yeah.
That's a Richard Gere rumor.
I told you about when my buddy called me that one night because he said the Mothman attacked him. And like,
he might have.
I ended up like going over to his apartment. Like he was sitting there like with a shotgun.
Oh my gosh.
He was terrified.
Yeah.
But he was also like one of the most overdramatic people I've ever met in my life.
Sure.
So, and then like I went out the next morning, or like the next day I went back over, and he had like said like it had hit the roof of his car like right here on Rosemar Road, which all of you listening, other than
they're like, right there on Rosemar.
You people in France, Rosemar Road, Parkersburg.
It's a bit of a landmark called Rosemar Corner, okay?
But
Google it.
He said that like it swooped down and like landed on the hood of his car, and then like jumped to the he said like it sounded like it was like digging its claws in. So I remember like we went out and looked at his car and there was of course nothing.
Yeah, of course.
And he was just like talking about how like he must have like some sort of ability to like hide. Like it was just, he wasn't on drugs either. Like
he needed them then.
He's a pretty normal dude.
Yeah.
He's just very overdramatic.
Say his name right now.
I won't.
Okay.
We talked about him in the Backyard Wrestling episode that hasn't aired.
Okay.
That's hidden. If you want to hear it, you can go to our site and support us, and you can give us like, I don't know, like $60 and I'll release the episode.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's not very good.
You'll find out where all the bodies are buried.
All of the bodies.
All of them.
I know them all. I draw the map.
You let the bodies hit the floor.
Mm-hmm. I heard, I was on my way home the other day, fucking Papa Roach, Last Resort came on.
Oh my god.
How did that shit play on the like?
It was just that time where it was like Korn, Limp Bizkit, that kind of band. I remember they were at a Warped Tour, and it was MXPX was playing, and then right after MXPX was Papa Roach. And like MXPX got done playing, and I was front row. I like turned around and left. I was like, I do not want to see Papa Roach.
It's like
cut my life into pieces.
I was listening to the lyrics, and I was just like, Jesus Christ.
They're about like a 13-year-old girl.
It is, but at the same time, I'm like, good God, like this is like some serious shit. This guy, like,
yeah.
If it's it does sound like but you say that, but like
it's his last resort.
It's talking about fucking suicide and shit. And I was like, but so this is all okay, but like they bleep ass, and stuff in songs. Yeah, I don't know.
Damn.
But yeah, just listen to it. I was like, good Lord, the early 2000s were.
Let's do an episode about Papa Roach.
I don't know if there's enough there. Isn't the lead singer's name like Colby?
Yeah, Kobe. I don't know.
Yeah,
something. It's definitely something. He's got a name. He's got a name and tattoos and hair.
They're probably still around.
Oh, yeah.
None of those bands fucking go away.
No, they're
like roaches.
They're still especially when you're the Papa Roach.
What does that even mean? All right.
Hey, if you're in Papa Roach and you want to explain what your name is, don't. We don't care.
Maybe like, have you seen like, the band Trapped?
Yeah.
Have you seen like how they're like fucking crazy Trump supporters and
oh really?
Like they're constantly posting, like they are like constantly fighting with people on Twitter.
That's a smart move.
And
Audrey Huff is
calling people like libtards and shit like that.
Oh my god, those buzzwords, man. We're gonna talk about that before we start recording, like snowflake, libtard.
Yeah.
Like if anyone uses any of those fucking, like it's just automatic. Like all right, this conversation's over.
Well, especially from fucking Trapped.
Yeah.
Like, and there's all these people that are like. There's a ton of people on the right that now, like, it's their best band ever. I'm like, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like whoever you like, but Jesus Christ, don't make it Trapped.
Just because, like, a band likes the president that you like doesn't
make their fucking music good.
Yeah. Like, just because someone's anti-Trump, I'm not going to be like, oh, they're the best band ever.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways.
West Virginia. Well, West Virginia.
So we'll be back with a new episode coming soon. Until then, like and subscribe on whatever you're listening to this, whatever platform. If you're listening on an Apple podcast, please leave a review. Like I said, you can go to our YouTube. We're going to get some more content there. We're trying to think of some ideas for video content. Hopefully,
I got an idea for one.
I'm not gonna tell you. I will be working on this weekend. I'm going to try to do some stuff with the footage of a thing that we started.
Yeah.
Was it last summer?
Yeah, it was probably a good 14 months ago.
Yeah, because I can't. Yeah, it was like the summer before the gym got sold, right?
Yeah.
So it was a little project we started. Yeah. I'm going to try to get something just so I can start posting some of that.
Yeah. I think it'll be good.
So I know you're excited about that.
Sure.
But then there's I kind of want to use that Randonautica app I was telling you about, or Randonautica, whatever it is, at some point here coming up soon. Try to like film some shit, just go somewhere. I don't know. We'll try to get some video content up for you guys.
I'm ready for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So pay attention.
Unfortunately for you, I am here.
Stay tuned to our YouTube for that. You can check us out, Facebook.com /middle-aged-mediocre. Anchor.fm /middle-aged-mediocre to keep up to date on everything we're doing.
Yep.
Please tell your friends. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Tell your enemies too. Like maybe this will be what brings you guys back together.
Or, make them suffer with you.
Sure, yeah, that's even better.
Right. So until next time, you've been listening to Middle Aged and Mediocre. I'm Cash.
I'm Joe.
And we will see you guys later.
Bye.